I will explain about Korean tightrope walking. Tightrope walking is a traditional performing art in Korea. It's not just walking on a rope, but it's also an art of singing, dancing, and acrobatics, and making jokes on a thin line between the 2 points. But tightrope walking is not something you do alone. Although the tightrope walkers take center stage, there are musicians who accompany the tightrope walkers and jokes on the ground. It is a performance that combines acrobats and clowns who accept jokes by being a conversation partner. Tightrope walking is a traditional Korean performing art that is easily accessible and familiar to the general public because it is invited to almost every local festival. In order for the audience to continue their interest without feeling bored, tightrope walking requires careful planning of acrobatics, jokes, and music. The tightrope walking starts with simple acrobatics and gradually performs more difficult tricks such as running up and down the line, rolling, jumping up and down, and sitting cross-legged on the line. It presents about 40 different tightrope walking techniques. Records on tightrope walking have been in place since the Goryeo dynasty. Since then, the art has been stably handed down to the present. 줄타기 was a vibrant traditional performing art that many people enjoyed widely. In 1976, the Korean government decided tightrope walking has important intangible cultural property number 58 and preserved and transformed it more systematically.
A 민속놀이 is the Korean traditional percussion chord. So this samu means 4 instruments, which is gwangari, 장구, jing, and buk. A gwangari is a small gong, and a jing is just a gong. Also, a 장구 is a double-headed drum, and a buk is just a drum. These 4 instruments each represents the natural phenomenon. For example, gwangari is the thunder, 장구 is the rain, buk is the clouds, and the jing is the wind. We play this kind of folk music that we call 민속놀이 in our courtyards in front of our houses. But these days, because of the industrialization, that culture is gone now. Well, the sad thing is that industrialization makes us very comfortable in life. But actually, some culture has been destroyed because of that too. There's a person named Kim Deok-soo, and he's a very famous musician all around the world. He had a world tour, and he heard the news about the June democracy movement. He came back to Korea and left the world tour behind. He had a performance, and I think this is a very good example of Korean art that helped the people overcome the pain. Journalists shows their thoughts through their articles. A writer shows their thoughts through their books. And a musician shows their thoughts through their music. So I think Korean art is not just for enjoying. It is our soul and helps the people overcome the pain of history.
Do you think that 민속놀이 is just some old music? Actually, it has a lot more meaning than that. So today, I'm going to tell you about the thoughts of Koreans inside 민속놀이. First is in Anyang. People in the Joseon dynasties thought there are 2 forces, in force and the yang force. In forces are the forces such as Moon, water, and cool things. Yang are the forces such as sun, fire, and hot things. People in the Joseon dynasty thought that this yin force and yang force had to be well balanced. So how is the yin force and yang force balanced inside Samonori? The instruments in Samonori are divided into two. First is the gwangari and jing. They are made of metal. Second is the jangu and yum. They are made of animal skin. Gwangari and jing have a very sharp noise, so they are the yang noise. Jangu and yum have a very warm noise, so they are the yin noise. We can see that the ancestors put the yin force and yang force well balanced even inside their music. Next is the 5 cardinal colors. The 5 cardinal colors are yellow, blue, red, black, and white. These 5 colors were the most important colors in the Joseon dynasty. They represent the whole world. They represent the world's directions and the elements. Yellow represents the earth and middle. Blue represents the trees and east. Black represents the water and north. Red represents the fire and south. And lastly, white represents middle and west. So how are these 5 cardinal colors inside the Samonori? We can see them in the outfits of the Samonori. The outfit is black and there are many fabrics around it. It is very colorful and beautiful, right? Sometimes people wear another vest on it, like this and this. The vests are red or blue. We don't know why people chose this color, but we are predicting that it is because the red and blue are the colors that defeat the bad spirits. So, we are predicting that it was because they wanted their crops to grow well, so they wanted to make the bad spirits go away from their crops. That is why they wore these red or blue vests.
Hello, my name is Jong Lee and I'm a teenager cultural commentator. Today I'm going to introduce you guys about the traditional Korean mask dance. You may heard of the China's lion dance or the Japan's kabuki, or none of them. And our traditional mask dance is similar to those two dances, however you will find it very unique itself. The mask dance's name is Talchum and it's a traditional play dancing with a mask called Tal on your face. In the beginning, it ended up at the level of a play by clowns in the royal ceremony, but gradually it evolved to people's culture in the late Joseon dynasty. Talchum's most significant and interesting feature is that it satirizes status system society and depicts harsh life of normal people in a humorous way. Also, Talchum criticized some high social status people, which attracted many people who sympathized with it. And Talchum has various types according to the story, region, and etc. The recreation with the mask existed since early agricultural society, with event thanking for harvest in autumn, funeral for wishing a year of abundance were held, or when they had an exorcism, people wore a mask and danced. Then Talchum met its golden age in late Joseon dynasty when it was spread to normal people. Afterwards, some groups that performed professional Talchum wandering around the whole country appeared in Joseon. Talchum was commonly performed as a public show in villages' empty lot or hills where many people can gather around easily. People not only just watched Talchum performance, but also they enjoyed the show together with other people and performance, and they made their stresses go away by bursting their suppressed emotions out. Besides, they also wished hope during the performance. However, sadly, our Talchum slowly faded away from our daily life through industrializations, the emergence of medias like television, and influx of Western cultures affected our decreasing interest in Korean traditional play as well. However, recently that attention to our traditional culture increased, so there are some movements occurred to preserve and exceed Talchum, which is a great thing, I think. Accordingly, each region's Talchum was designated as an intangible cultural assets, and people who can actually dance Talchum are chosen as a skill holder putting efforts on conservation of Talchum. And the last thing I want to say to you guys is that if you visit some museums in Korea, there is a souvenir shop where you can find these kind of accessories which model the tar of mask used in Talchum. So I highly recommend you to look for it, and if you like it, it is a great idea to keep it as a memorable thing which will make you remember our country, Korea. These are the all informations I prepared for you, and I hope you enjoyed. And so it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for having an interest in Korea, and bye bye.